And there's the Forge coming up. Obviously, it's a little bit later, but on a map the size of Whirlwind, doesn't really matter that much. I don't expect Hope to be able to get in here, although you never know. There are times when mistakes are made. 6 Lings are coming out. He evidently believes that he can actually push this. It was a Nexus before Forge, and they... Oh, hello. Hello. Look at that. That is a double extractor cancel right here to get a Queen out and 6 Lings. That's cool. He is definitely going to get aggressive now. He thinks he can actually do something to this, and he's probably not wrong. This is a very wide ramp, and because it was Nexus before Forge, it's pretty early. I mean, this is delayed. This cannon will finish, I think. Yeah, it looks like it will. Ooh, he's avoiding the scout here as well. This is actually super sneaky. I think, again, the cannon's going to finish, but about 3 Lings should get in here. And Soke doesn't actually have a probe here to block this off. This could be devastating. 6 Lings making their run through here. Soke with no probe to actually make the emergency block. Hope will probably lose 3 Lings in this run by, as like that, and then gets 3 Lings into the main. That's totally fine. This could turn out to be disastrous for Soke. We'll see if he can defend against it without losing too many probes. He's obviously going to have to pull stuff off the line. This is already worth it because of the annoying harassment potential. Bringing out a Zealot is really not going to help all that much here either. It's going to come down really to the probe defense and Hope's micro. And he's now droning behind this. Obviously, this is not all in by any stretch of the imagination. It's exploiting a hole. It's exploiting a little bit of greed there. And to be fair, let's be fair to Soke right here. Hope got a little bit lucky because he scouted first. On a map like this, there are 2 other positions it could be in, and hello, what's this? Soke will most likely try and cannon here, I think. That's a sneaky thing to do, try and deny the 3rd with a cannon. I like that a lot. These 3 Lings are still alive. They've only killed 2 probes so far, but that's more than paid for itself. And it's also delayed some mining time as well, so that's really good. Here come the cannons. That's coming down to deny this 3rd base. It's actually out of sight as well. It'll be out of sight until this hatchery finishes and actually gains increased vision range. That could absolutely suck. These Lings are still alive as well. Both of these guys are getting super aggressive. But as I said before, it a little bit lucky for Hope to scout that area first. If he hadn't scouted it first, he most likely would not have done what he did, which was to do the double extractor trick to get those Lings and the Queen out. There we go. Cannons are on the field and dealing with Hope right now. This hatchery is going to die. I don't see Hope defending it in any circumstances. These Lings are somehow still alive, which is in itself incredible. And he's actually going to keep all 3 alive again. Looks to try and take down another probe. He can't. I think this is why he finally loses these Lings. But he's kept them alive for ages. He's got a large amount of scouting information. He's been an annoying harassment. But in the process, the response from Soke was to cannon his 3rd, which did take that out quite nicely, and that will die. There's no way of stopping that from happening. That's actually a really big blow. Even a cancellation would have been better, but that was a straight-up kill. Immediately after that, we're seeing Lair coming out, and we're seeing 2 gas. There's 2 gas there, and we also see 2 gas there. So most likely going to be a 2-base Mutalisk play coming out here from Hope. When you get that much gas at this particular timing, that is generally what you're doing. But it could be something else. Could be something else. We'll see. Mutas seem like a good idea, though, here. Obviously, well, Roach is coming down, so maybe not. Roach 1, of course, doesn't cost any gas, so he may just be building that defensively. We'll see. But as I say, it wouldn't surprise me to see Mutalisk play at this stage. It does make a lot of sense. Alright, scouting Phoenix is on the way. It's hallucinated. The layer is actually down the bottom there, so that's going to delay the information just a little bit. Soke can't really... It's not like Soke's actually going to lose this Phoenix. That can't really happen. There's nothing really to shoot it down. He spots that. He spots all 4 gas. He spots to the Roach one and double Evo chambers, though, which is going to really weird him out. This also, the double Evo chambers makes me think this is not going to be a Spire play. And there we go. Roach is a Roach speed, so it's definitely not going to be a Spire play. There's no way. So he's going to make a big Roach play instead on 4 gas with double upgrades. Cool. Alright. That works for me. Missile attack upgrades and ground carapace coming in. He'll probably follow this up with Hydras, play that build that he preferred earlier. Admittedly, he's going to do it on 2 bases and not 3, which makes it a little bit more messy, which is why I think maybe he just goes for a big Roach Wrecking Ball at this point. No Baneling Nest, so we're not going to see any kind of crazy bust coming out from him. These Lings are still slow, but that has just been resolved. His cannons are going to be annoying to take down. With good Roach Micro, should be able to kill it without actually losing anything. In the meantime, Soke Showing no signs of expanding as of yet. I mean, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to take a third base. His opponent's only on 2 and can't really take a third yet. So things have been delayed. What he does need to do is get his tech up and make sure he's ready to deal with some counterattacks. Down come the force fields, and they were pretty good as well. They actually allow this force to get out of there for the moment. He will be able to recall, but he doesn't really want to waste the energy. Oh, yes, he does. In that position, he had no other option. It's either that, what do you waste? Do you waste the sentry energy, or do you waste the mothership core energy? In this case, the mothership core makes more sense. So he recalls out of there without taking too much damage. Immortals, and we're going to be seeing Colossus coming out here very shortly as well, unless it's a weird speed warp prism play, which is unlikely. Pylon's going to get knocked down, which is going to shut these cannons down quite handily, and it's also going to supply block Soke. That's going to be alleviated in a couple of seconds, though, and the third finally goes down here as well. Hydroden, follow-up. Once he's able to get all 6 gas, he'll be able to pump Hydras at a good rate while keeping up with his double upgrades. I like that a lot. Now we've got the Forge working on +2 here. Upgrades-wise, Soke is slightly in the lead, but he won't be for long. Once these 1-1s finish and he starts his 2-2, things are going to be good for him. There's the Hydra speed, so we're going to be seeing that big Roach Hydralisk push. This time it actually has more Roaches in it than it did last time, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. Colossi still not on the field. To be honest, though, I mean, with the Immortal in play, maybe Hydras would have actually, more Hydras would have been better, but I guess on 2 bases, you don't really have the option to do that. You got to build more Roaches because you don't have the gas, and those force fields are flat out failed in every possible way. Hope was able to get through there and do a lot of damage with those Roaches. That should not have happened. Soke with the slip up. This Roach force has done way more damage than it should have. He actually may, oh wow, if he sniped that upgrade, that would actually be massive, but he doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that. But that was great. That was a great engagement from Hope. Absolutely wonderful. He should be happy with that. That did exactly what it needed to do. He killed the Immortal as well, which is wonderful, so he can keep reinforcing Roaches and not be too worried about them getting blasted to pieces. And now he's got Lings and Hydralisks in the army. His 1-1's finished. If he can hit before +2 hits, he's going to have an upgrade advantage. Blink is about to finish as well. Not a lot of Stalkers. I mean, there's not a lot of anything, really, for Soke here. 30 supply lead here for Hope. No harassment potential for Soke either, so he's going to play defensively. Admittedly, that's what Soke likes to do anyway, so we'll see. Another 11 drones following this up. Power and the macro behind this for Hope. Hope's in a really great spot right now. There is one Colossus, but there is no speed. That is a crazy late-game Spire right there, but again, you can use it for Corruptors, but here it comes. Lings coming in right now. Roach is engaging against the front line. There is not a lot of beef at the front to actually deal with this. The Hydras are able to get a reasonable flank on the side. They don't have Hydra range, so they are getting kind of caught out a little bit here. Hope's engagement arc is not ideal. Soke trying to hold on here, and this Colossus is proven to be super useful. At least it was until it died horribly, and Hope is going to break the front here with this Hydralisk army. Can he bring in any more? Oh, he can't bring in any more forces. His reinforcements are just not there, so I guess he has to pull back rather than keep committing to this. Soke now with the Blink Stalkers, I suppose, is able to fend that off, and +2 is finished too as well. So, still, units loss-wise, Soke has lost more, which is very uncharacteristic. Soke is usually the guy to play super efficiently. Not able to do that. Not able to harass. He's going to take his third. He's going to bring a Warp Prism into play. He's going to start to try and harass. I would imagine he's going to hit the main with this. Of course, the third is potentially vulnerable as well. The one thing that Hope doesn't have is any static defense to help him out here. So he has to be a little bit careful. If he pushes across the map again with another Roach Hydralisk army with 2-2, which is what I would think he would, but to be honest, since he's building the Spire, I don't know. So what does he do with the Spire? Usually this will be for Corruptors. Admittedly, Corruptors have fallen out of favor if you want to go Hive, because Abduct is just so much better. That Overseer is a hero. It spotted the Warp Prism so far away. This Warp Prism doing damage really isn't a possibility. There is, I mean, even if there was a Dark Shrine, which there isn't, then it's going to be spotted almost immediately. Zealot run by completely shut down here on the third base by Hope. It just isn't going to do anything. It's going to be spotted immediately. In fact, the Corruptors that are coming out are just going to kill it. So this Warp Prism harass is not going to work in any way. Adding some Corruptors into the field. Doesn't want to build too many. For obvious reasons. They just kill Colossus and then they really don't do anything else. It's not like you're going up against Terran where at least you can hit the Medivacs as well. Hope just building this big Roach Hydralisk army. His 2-2 is done, and that means that Soke is behind in upgrades. Soke doesn't actually have any ground armor upgrades yet, which is a big deal. Big Roach force against a lot of Zealots, even Stalkers, is going to make a lot of difference. Corrupt is trying to engage against this Warp Prism, but he only sends a single one in, so it doesn't kill it. He drives it away for the time being, and he says, hey, look, I've got Corruptors, and you can't go in there with a Warp Prism. It's too risky. And that Overseer is going to keep an eye on it. Big Roach Hydralisk forces moving in. Let's look at army supply. It's massively in favor of Hope right now. 183 to 125 army. Soke is dealing with only being on a single Colossus. The second one will finish, but there are so many units coming out here for Hope. This Roach Hydra composition works absolutely fine. And with Corruptors in the mix as well, the Colossus are going to die much faster than they would otherwise. Lings move in and are able to find the position of his opponent. And I was going to say that's a Warp Prism drop, but it's not. It's actually just a hallucinated Phoenix doing nothing whatsoever. And Hope needs to look to engage right now. He is maxed. Now is the time to hit him. And he's going to just walk straight into the natural. There we go. In the meantime, he is then going to wait for the rest of this army, and he's going to surround it. In come the corruption spells. He's able to actually hit the Colossus that are caught in a really awful spot. One Colossus goes down, second one coming in as well. Can Soke actually hold on here? He plummets below 100 supply. It's very unlikely. Hope is battering down the front door. Reinforcements streaming across the map. More roaches. These corruptors now realizing that all they have to do is spectate this fight, and Soke relying on Blink Stalkers alone to try and hold on here. That Forge isn't going to finish. It's +3. That's a huge deal. These Hydras wrecking their way through the Gateway Force. Superior upgrades mean that Hope's army just does not die. Corruption. Oh, the clutch Corruption comes down. No Colossus coming for you, sir. Not at all. Hope makes his way into the natural. There's the GG, and Hope is on fire. Please don't send any more Protoss against this guy. It's horrible to watch. It really is. Karont3 doesn't actually have any more, so I guess that won't be too much of a risk. Oh man, it is time. It's time to send out one of the big hitters. Do you ZVZ him with Vortex? Do you send out Lucifron? Or do you even risk LOL versus XD here? Which I wouldn't. I mean, this is not a good position for Karont3 to be in. I think you're going to send out a heavy hitter in this position. The question is, who do you send out? Which of the Duran brothers do you send in the direction of Mousesports Hope? We'll find out after this break, folks. Don't go anywhere. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the next matchup? And we thought one of the heavy hitters was coming out for Karont3, and we were absolutely right. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is the man himself. The guy that most people believe is currently the best Terran in Europe, arguably the best foreign Terran. in the Blue Trunks are playing a Terran to the southeast of Star Station. It is Karont3's Lucifron versus his opponent, the guy who has picked up 2 kills already for his team. Really great start, taking out 2 strong Protoss opponents. Now must face up against the Terran Terror from Spain. Representing Sweden and Mousesports, in the Red Trunks playing Zerg to the northwest, it is Hope. Alright, well, so Lucifron has a bit of a reputation to uphold in these team leagues. He tends to almost all kill. In fact, in some cases he kind of does, if you were to just count players. Like, for instance, Lucifron killed Hyun twice in their match against Quantic before Hyun was sent out a 3rd time and finally managed to beat him. So technically, he killed every player that they sent out. But in this tournament, you can resurrect players for ace matches and so on and so forth. So, a little bit different. Hope being nice and mana there. As Lucifron asks, is it just cross position? It is, on this particular version. Gas coming down pretty early here for Lucifron. And a quick expansion, of course, for Hope. Now, Lucifron's builds, from what we've seen in this tournament, are very reliant on Hellbat drops. They're very effective, and he's very good at them. He'll open up with a Reaper, and then he'll go for a Hellbat drop. He does tend to delay his natural as a result of this, but he has several variants of his Hellbat drop. Some are a bit more economical, but they hit later. Some are very aggressive, and they hit earlier. So, we will see. It may be that he's changed things up. The problem with Lucifron using the same build all the time is that people will take it apart. These replays for this tournament are publicly available, which means you can analyze the hell out of him. So, this means this tournament shifts a lot in terms of its actual strategies being employed, because you can use take command, you can use replays to determine exactly what your opponent's strategy is, and then you can prepare accordingly. So I would imagine Hope was expecting Lucifron to come out, so he'll be looking to try and deal with this. Now, this Reaper opening is annoying to deal with for Zerg because they can't actually do anything. This is... There we go. This is one of those situations where the Terran player basically is going to get some kills, and it really is up to the Terran player to mess up rather than the Zerg player to actually defend it. It's very, very hard to defend it. Like, Lings are not fast enough. Basically, you can do damage until the Queens come out, right? And in this case, the Lings popped out in a lucky position. They... oh! I was going to say, what the hell is he doing? And then I realized he's making a Spore Crawler with that injured drone so that it won't get killed by the Reaper. That is cool. I like that. So far, only 1 drone has been killed by this double Reaper attack. If they can keep it at that, then I would say that's a win for Hope, because that's a lot of Reapers. Queens are now on the field. So, oh, nice interception. Really nice interception. Lucifron is slow on the uptake right there. And he isn't able to take a Ling out, and Lucifron might actually decide, you know what, this isn't worth it anymore. That said, consider this. Consider this. This is actually a very economical Reaper opening, and the reason that it is because he forced a ton of Lings out of his opponent. Hope built 10 Lings. And yes, he saved his drones, but he didn't build drones. That's the thing. He has fewer drones as a result of building all the Zerglings. So, in theory, even if you don't do a lot of damage with this, it's still pretty cool. And Lucifron actually expanded behind it, and is now... he's actually at an economic lead slightly, because he has 1 less SCV, but he has mules. So, he is doing pretty well there. Lings now making their way across the map. Very early speed here for Hope. Obviously, you need to take that at this stage in the matchup. There's a lot of Lings available, and there's really not a lot to defend this, but these Hellions plus this bunker should be absolutely fine. As long as Hope doesn't actually go up... nah, he's just leaving immediately. There is only actually 2 Reapers in that bunker, which isn't going to do a thing. So, funnily enough, I think he could have actually made his way in there, but with the 2 Hellions, probably not worth it. He just scouts, checks that there's expansion there, and then moves back. Okay, no armory coming out here yet for Lucifron. He's actually going for the 3cc build, which is nice and greedy. Obviously a build which is being played a lot by Flash lately, and it's working very, very well, but a lot of other Terrans are adopting it as well, or making their own little variants of it. It's super greedy. It forces the Zerg to take an early 3rd and then arguably even a 4th base to try and keep up with the economy of the Terran, and then the economy just goes for this... the Terran just goes for this 3-base power push with a huge amount of economy. It's actually crazy. It's very, very good indeed. The risk, of course, is that you get hit, but the question is with what? Hope doesn't actually have anything to hit him with. He's just building Lings. He's focusing on his economy right now. He's also building some static defense, which I like. I think it's a case of saying, oh, well, you know, he might actually use Hellbats on me. He might drop me. It turns out that Lucifron's actually doing nothing of the sort this time. He's building Widow Mines. I don't believe he has a starport yet. No, he doesn't. He's showing no signs of building one. He's focusing on double upgrades, so he's going to be playing a very bio-heavy style. And he is, I suppose, defying the expectations of some people. It's like, oh, where's your next Hellbat drop? Well, that's not actually going to happen. Hope pushing forward, 4 queens, and good creep spread thus far, trying to secure his third base and doing a little bit of damage to the Hellions here. There are a couple of Widow Mines in play as well. Currently, they're in a defensive position, and there's no way to drop them. He could decide to move them across the map. Can be pretty irritating, but that's kind of like rolling the dice and expecting to try and get a 20 on a 20-sided. It's a case of, can you really put them in a position where the Zerg's actually going to hit them in numbers and not reveal them? That's the risk. A lot of people say there's no cost-inefficient Widow Mine. That's actually completely untrue. There really is. There's loads of examples of that, especially against Zerg. Zerg do tend to send out scouting lings, and if you find out where the Widow Mines are, and then you detect them and you kill them with the loss of only 1 ling, that's a definite win for you. Right now, there's only 2 Widow Mines on the field. There's going to be 2 more in a second. Lucifron just powering out as many barracks, upgrades, and SCVs as possible. He does take his third base now. And this puts Hope in a really awkward spot, who's now building a Baneling nest, redeploying a little bit of static defense. There are no drops happening whatsoever. Hope's still on 3 bases, but the economy of Lucifron is actually better because he has triple Mule and he has triple SCV production. So, especially if Hope starts building units right now, Lucifron is going to take the lead in terms of his economy, I would think. A big drone swell here from Hope once again, who play like Rhett used to, honestly. And it seems to work pretty well, especially when his opponent has no intention of attacking him anytime soon. The Widow Mines go down, and as I say, 2 Widow Mines pop off, and I mean, they don't do a lot. This is what I'm talking about, these cost-inefficient Widow Mines. 4 Widow Mines pop off to kill 4 lings. Obviously, the defense works out, but it also reveals a large amount of Widow Mines in that area, so Hope's going to be a little bit more careful. Armory's coming down right now, and bearing in mind we have a double engineering bay, this is almost, well, that is almost assuredly for upgrades and not for Hellbats. He may decide to mix some Hellbats in, but again, when you've got like 2-2 bio and then 0-0 Hellbats, it's really weird. So, some players like to do it, some players don't. We'll see. More lings coming around, and he's going to try and take down the third base. He now knows, of course, that the Widow Mines are here and not here. So he can actually do a run-by directly into this mineral line and do some damage. That's exactly what he's doing, going straight for the mules here. Going to take down 1. That one was almost dead anyway, so, you know, he literally had 1 day left till retirement. He won't be getting his gold watch anytime soon. A little bit of economic harassment, not huge. Couple of workers killed here and there, but it also reveals there's no minefield there, which means that a larger ling attack on that army could be effective. It may also allow Hope to actually tech behind it, maybe even take a 4th base. Lings moving across the map to gain map controls. I mean, there's a lot of lings, 62. It's actually a huge amount of lings. Good lord. Ooh, Lucifron almost lets him in there. And here comes the big run-by. I wonder, actually, if Hope builds Banelings behind this. He has the ability to do that. He doesn't have Baneling speed as of yet. This ling run-by is effective by the looks of it. Kills a few SCVs here and there. Probably not as many as he was hoping for. Ooh, Widow Mine detonation goes off there and actually ends up killing a Hellion, which is unfortunate. Only 5 workers killed up to this point, so Lucifron's probably pretty comfortable with that. He does have the economic lead now. So I think, really, like, if Hope really wants to do damage there, he's got to hit them with Banelings. And he hasn't morphed any yet. He does have the option. He's got Baneling speed, and he's working on 2-2 as well. Lucifron is slightly ahead upgrades-wise, but of course, like, upgrades don't make that much difference to Banelings. The Spire is on the way as well, so what Hope can try and do here is take advantage of the fact that Lucifron is playing a very defensive style across 3 bases and try and strike at some different targets. There is some static defense available. Might work out. Lucifron with a nice little push here just to knock down a few creep tumors. And he kills a ton of them, actually, so this is really, really great for him. And Lucifron can just leave now. He doesn't really have to worry. He actually is going to try and kill Queen, and Hope is going to let that happen, because he actually had transfer. What? Whoa, 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 whoa! That shouldn't have happened. 3 Queens going down. Totally worth it for the cost of those Marines, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that really shouldn't have happened at all. In the meantime, this Reaper makes its way in, just being generally annoying. It's not going to do anything, but... yeah, losing 3 Queens was actually kind of silly. I don't think that was really necessary at all. Hope could have transfused there. I don't think he was really on the ball. Also, it's going to limit his creep spread, especially considering he lost a ton of creep tumors here. His creep spread's really good as well. He's spreading towards the 3rd base, and losing those queens is actually going to make a big difference. Ling Baneling style coming out with Mutalisk, so very classic style, very aggressive style from our Zerg player here. In the meantime, Lucifron's actually building Drilling Claws, so he's going to play BO9. He's going to build a lot of mines. He's going to be borrowing them in the middle of fights, and he's going to hope that they do huge damage, which they will. But the question is to who? To who do they do huge damage? There are big risks with this style. It's a double-edged sword. You can take a lot of damage from it. SCVs are currently unmolested, and Hope, on the other hand, establishing this 4th base and moving in with a big force of Ling and Muta. He's currently I wouldn't say he's ahead on economy, but he's pretty equal with Luciferon. Luciferon actually has 14 Widow Mines right now, which is ridiculous. He's about to have 16 as well. And Lings make their way in once again. Slow response here from Luciferon, not defending this area with Widow Mines, which is kind of weird considering he's definitely got enough for it. Now, the question is, do we see Widow Mine drops coming out right here from Luciferon, or does he play that big, aggressive Biomine posture? I mean, it's a possibility, certainly. Just going forward with the mines, with drilling claws, borrowing them, there you go, and that's what I'm talking about right here. With this many mines, it can be difficult, it depends. He's setting a lot of Lings around to try and detonate as many mines as possible, but there are so many mines that it's going to take quite of a while to do. That was a big hit right there for Luciferon, and Mutalisks take a huge amount of damage there. Baneling's now moving in, but Luciferon is deliberately drawing them into the Widow Mines, and this is not going to work out at all for Hope. He takes a lot of damage, but the second wave comes in, and he should have enough to clear this up. Oh, Luciferon's so slow on the evacuation there, loses a ton of units, and takes a big hit. So let me just take that back. It did work very well. That was only the first wave of Banelings. Hope had a second one. He knew that the Widow Mines were in play, and now there's like 14, 15 Widow Mines just died. The mine force of his opponent is much, much smaller. A lot more Banelings coming in as well. Luciferon struggling against this style. This is very life-esque, actually, and I think a lot of Zergs are going down this particular route as a method of dealing with Terran. And the funny thing about Luciferon right now is he's not able to actually get drop aggressive. There's too many mutas on the field. They're controlling the map too well. And the Lings are dealing with the Widow Mines quite nicely. So Luciferon's sort of relying on a lucky Widow Mine hit, which is almost like relying on a lucky nuke. But, yeah, that was, wow. He actually picked that off without detonating. That requires an obscene amount of control with Mutalisks. It really, really does. Quick evacuation right there as Hope's army streams forward once again. Big engagement going to happen. Looking for the Lings surround. Evacuation's got to happen here, surely, but the Mutalisks are also working on these medevacs, and Luciferon is getting pushed back so much. Detonation goes off, but honestly, it hits more Marines than anything else, and that's the big risk. The double-edged sword of Widow Mines. The Banelings clean up this entire army now, and the Mutalisk count is so high. Lings continuing to stream across the map. This third base under grave threat. Hope is playing so well today. Good God. This is insane. Loving this right here from Hope. The Luciferon is being made to look like an amateur, which is absurd because he's so good. But Hope is playing so much better. This style is great. The third base just got gutted and denied. 32 workers killed. A huge economic blow here to Luciferon. He's behind in supply. He's behind in tech. 3-3 has just started with adrenal glands. This Ling Baneling Muta style, it might be old, but it's super effective. The Mutas are doing a great job of denying drops. The map awareness here for Hope is phenomenal. Oh, that micro was control from Hope as well, saving that Muta as well. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it right now. I couldn't be loving it more if it was McDonald's. But right now, Hope is in a great spot. Alright, here he goes. 91 Mutalisks. It's a lot of 91 Mutalisks. What? No. 91 Lings. And attack speed upgrade. It's dangerous. Another Ling run-by comes in. This is crucial. Luciferon must hold this base. And the question is with what? Ling's now attacking at the front. Getting an idea of where the Widow Mines are. Widow Mines currently unborrowed, but with drilling claws doesn't make much of a difference. And trying to pick one off, doesn't quite get it. Unfortunate. Shame. If it actually had +2, that would have killed it, but it happens. Ling's now making their way around here, and once again, Luciferon has to rely on these mines, but Hope is just too quick. He's trying to detonate them. Bear in mind, mines take a second and a half to lock on. So sending in one Ling every now and again is not actually that great because they don't usually stay alive long enough for that to make a difference. All those mutas are going to watch out. Still got plenty of Banelings in the composition here. Luciferon doesn't move at all. Eats it completely. Relying on the mines again. That obliterates a lot of those Lings and Banelings. Luciferon starting to catch up. A good defense, but a Ling run-by came around the side as well. Killed yet more workers. And this area is starting to get mined out. Half of these patches are pretty much done. And Hope is sitting on 5 bases now. And Luciferon can't touch him. Now the Ultralisk transition comes in with the 3-3. This is the death blow, potentially, for any Terran that doesn't have what he needs to deal with it. A big Marauder-heavy composition is starting to come out from Luciferon because he knows what's coming. But building Marauders against Ling Baneling, the Lings just rip them to pieces. They're not that great at DPS. They're awesome for absorbing Baneling hits, but it really all comes down to the control and the positioning of your army. These Mutalisks have proven to be great, and finally, they get a delicious dessert. And are able to take out the mineral line at the third base. Very, very dangerous. Takes down, yeah, more workers. Harasses here, takes this orbital down to half. Like, he could just Baneling bust that orbital right now and kill it. and into the main he goes. That's no gas mining for you, I'm afraid. We're going to see some lost add-ons here and reinforcements cut off as well. There are so many mutas on the field right now that it's difficult to deal with, and this Marauder-heavy composition is obviously useless against these Mutalisks. Hope is playing this absolutely perfectly. Lucifron is really struggling to stay on the board here, and now the Lings come in. 3-3 is about to finish. That is a timing and a half. 3-3 Adrenal Lings with Banelings and Mutalisks and everything. The minefield is going to go off and probably kill the majority of the Terran force, and it does. That minefield not proving to be useful at all, and we're seeing very rapidly how dangerous Widowmines can really be to you. Ultralisks will follow this up. The Marauder count is plummeting. This third base is about to die. It is just saved there by Lucifron. Once again, a great defense, but he is so far behind in supply, and he now has to deal with Ultras. And with only 10 Marauders, it's a tricky prospect. Can be done, but it's difficult. Ultras now rolling out Lings and Banelings to reinforce. No Infestors to help stick the enemy